the Jiu Feng Smuggler Pack 4, introducing 3 new weapons, a shotgun, an SMG, and a pistol. These are extremely modern and futuristic looking weapons. Some of them even have some interesting quirks that we'll talk about later. Along with the 3 weapons, we got a couple of free things with this update, a couple of weapon mods, a silencer, a laser mod, and some free outfits, which are designed by the winners of the outfit competition that Overkill held. Design-wise, they aren't half bad, but I'm just not gonna say anything about that one. All I can say is I guess Overkill forgot about my boy Gage. Now he's out of a job. Well, with this being the 4th smuggler pack and all. This is the Argos III Shotgun. Here's a quick look at the stats of the shotgun. I have it modded with the exclusive set for the stats, but it's not equipped right now, so you can see how the gun looks at its base. Model-wise, I think it's the weakest of the bunch. It has a weird looking texture. The computer display on the gun itself looks awful. I mean, it has 420 on it. Funny, right? Interestingly though, this gun reloads 2 shells at a time, so that's something. Not sure if it's intentional or if it's a bug. The reload animation itself though looks quite funky to me, very unnatural. And this is the Wasp-DS SMG. Same deal as the shotgun, I have it modded with the exclusive set, but for demonstration, it's just not equipped yet. Unfortunately, there is no akimbo version of this gun, so you're stuck only using this gun as a secondary, which for me was a big bummer. As you can see, unmodded, this thing kicks like a mule. The reload animations here, like the shotguns, they're pretty unnatural, a little bit over the top. They just don't look right. But this gun does have special swap animations, which I think actually look kind of good. Unfortunately, from a gameplay perspective, it's total ass, since it makes the swap animation way too fucking long. But hey, it looks pretty, I guess. And last but not least, here is the Gecko M2 pistol. Unlike the SMG, this weapon does have an akimbo primary and a single secondary version. This weapon also has no exclusive set, so I just threw in a bunch of random mods. Again, for the demo here, they're just not equipped, but they will be in the gameplay. For the model and animations, it's got standard pistol stuff, and it reuses the same reload that nearly all the other pistols have, so nothing to write home about. Now for the gun itself though, it is a unique little thing. It's a pistol with a built-in suppressor and shotgun push functionality? What the heck? Why? Well, shit. Now you know I gotta test this out. Well, let's just hop right into it. First, we have the Argos shotgun, and what you're seeing right now is the crazy-ass exclusive skin. It has 3 frickin' lasers. I feel like this is a reference to something, but I don't know what it is. In my mind, it's like the Predator laser and his little shoulder gun thing. It's totally wacky, but you know what? I'm down with that. What I'm not down with, though, is the gun itself, funny enough. It just looks awful, like, in general. A friend of mine showed me a video of the MP155 Ultima, which I believe is the real-life version of this gun, and it looks freaking awesome. In this game, though, both modded and unmodded, it just looks awful. The textures of it look weird, the computer display is low-res, and it looks like a sticker you slapped on it. It just doesn't look good. Alright, well, what about the performance? First thing I noticed when using it is that the fire rate leaves a little something to be desired. For a semi-automatic shotgun, the fire rate is pretty low. Low enough where you can stall your shots. Even with the skill to increase fire rate, I find myself getting stuck all the time when I want to shoot fast. That being said, I'm guessing it's probably intentional. This Argos shotgun has a similar damage profile to the locomotive, around the 120 mark. The locomotive, of course, shoots much slower due to the pump action nature of the gun. So just comparing the two alone, that means the Argos already has way higher damage output because of the faster fire rate. In fact, there's actually a lot of similarities between this new shotgun and the locomotive, which makes me a little bit sad. See, the recently released Mosconi 12-gauge Tactical, I think that's what it's called, that's something that I hoped the Argos would be. That Mosconi Tactical is a weird in-betweener, you know, damage lower than the double-barrel shotguns, but higher than every other pump-action shotgun. And if you build it just right, you could easily score one-shot kills on heavy swats, on death's ends, which actually makes a pump shotgun worth using on those high difficulties. Otherwise, if you need 2 shots with those guys, it feels awful, and your efficiency tanks. At that point, it feels better just to use either a weak spammy shotgun, or just use the double barrels. Unfortunately, the Locomotive and now the new Argos, they fit into that category of shotgun where it's not strong enough to get those one-shot kills, but it's also not spammy enough to keep up with the weaker shotguns. I mean, you might be able to make a build that can force the Argos to reach that potential, but I'd wager that you probably have to make a really impractical build to do so. So in that regard, I feel like the performance of this gun is very weak. Too many enemies just flop to the ground and survive after your first shot, and that just ruins your combat effectiveness. Also, something that I really need to mention, if you couldn't tell from the gameplay, that double reload nonsense does not compensate you for the lack of performance. With this shotgun in particular, I'm not sure why Overkill did this, but it has some awful delay and really clunky reloading for a shell-fed shotgun. So yeah, you can reload 2 at a time, and that means you fill up super fast. But trying to mix shooting and reloading feels awful. You have to wait the full animation of reloading to do anything, and even after that, it's like you have another second of delay. It even feels like initiating the reload is weirdly sluggish. I don't really know how to explain it. Basically, in a nutshell though, this gun just feels awful. It's clunky and weird, has bad reload, and the performance is just not all that great. It's an archetype of a shotgun that's not really all that good either. And combined, it just makes this a really bad weapon. The Wasp SMG. Like the shotgun, I'm using this with the exclusive skin. The colors, a little bit too flashy for my taste, but it does kind of have this cool, futuristic look, so I kind of dig it. Adds a suppressor and a laser, and it boosts the stats pretty nicely, so you know what? I don't mind giving it a test drive. The heads-up indicator for the ammo didn't work at the time of making this video. Overkill, however, did put out a hotfix that says they fixed it, but I don't trust a lot of what they say, so you'll have to see for yourself. Anyway, the gun from an aesthetic perspective is probably my favorite of the bunch. The texture looks pretty nice, the model looks solid, and it's got the fancy swap animation. Unfortunately, as you've probably noticed, the extra animation for swapping gives the gun a really slow swap time. I mean, it's not a huge deal breaker, and it won't make me not use the gun, but it is super annoying if your build relies on swapping to your primary often, or if you play the game even remotely how it's meant to be played. Alright, so while I don't mind the swap animation itself too much, I don't like the reload animations. They also feel unnatural, kind of like the shotgun. The movements don't look right at all, and I think this is a trend that I'm seeing more and more with Overkill's new DLC. The skeleton crew they got working on Payday 2 might be getting paid less or something, or maybe they just got different guys. But the guns just, they look kind of weird, the animations look unnatural, it's just not good. Alright, let's just put that aside. How's the gun itself? The gun is fine, but there's nothing to write home about. It's part of the lowest damage tier of SMGs, sitting with the likes of the Scorpion, the Tech-9, the Uzis. However, unlike those guns, the Wasp has oddly high accuracy, which is unlike any of the other guns of this archetype. Further boosted by mods and skills, you can get some surprisingly high accuracy. I mean, mine, with just the exclusive skin and the little rubber pad on the back, that put me all the way up to 80. So I'm sure if I picked up some of the more expensive skills, or just more skills in general, I can make it even better. But good luck hitting anything further than a couple meters, because this thing kicks like a mule. I don't have a large amount of skills to help stabilize it, but I'd wager something like acing silencer skills while using the exclusive set could make this thing feel a whole lot better, maybe even like a beast. My big issue with this gun though is that I really wish there were an akimbo version. You know, my crackpot theory is that Overkill didn't know how they would animate the swapping animation for the akimbo version, so you know what, they just said, fuck it, we'll only have it available as a secondary version. Really sucks, because it would totally rock as akimbos. Those weak SMGs with higher fire rate and crits, oh, those things shred. And the last thing I wanted to point out about this gun is that the gun reloads are deceptively fast. If you notice from the gameplay, the gun is actually reloaded before the animation finishes, either from a partial reload or even a full reload. So I don't know if this is an oversight or a bug, but either way, if you have reload skills and then you have the crew boost to boost reloads, you can basically start shooting the gun before the magazine even goes into the chamber. But, you know how it is. It ain't an Overkill update without copious amounts of jank. So the gun itself, it's not really stellar or unique, I would say, but you know, it does the job okay. So unlike the Argos shotgun, there's not many bad things to say about the SMG. It's a solid gun, in a solid archetype, and as long as you get the right build, you can do some good work with it. Last but definitely not least, the Gecko pistol. Funny enough, I watched a video from that one guy that reviews video game guns and talks about their real-life counterparts. I think his name was Jonathan. And the one that this video was from was the Halo one, you know, about the ODST suppressed Magnum. So yeah, this is one of the few times I actually knew about a gun that didn't come from my knowledge from another video game. Anyway, as stated, this pistol is unique in the sense that it has a built-in suppressor, meaning it's always going to be silenced as far as gameplay goes. And it even takes into account silencer-related skills, so that's pretty nice. Now, as for shotgun push mechanics, it does, well, exactly what it says it'll do. If you're close enough to an enemy and you kill them, you can send them flying, just like a shotgun would. It's such a weird feature to add to another weapon, but hell, I'm all for it. This means that this is the de facto best pistol you could bring for stealth, and it works surprisingly well at that. If you're an avid stealther, then you probably already know how important it is to have a weapon that can kill an enemy and push them out of line of sight of other guards or cameras. And if you don't care about stealth, well, just laugh at enemies getting blasted away when you kill them. So, the concealment for this gun isn't what I would consider to be the best. I mean, you can work with it, yeah, but just comparing the rest of the pistols to this one, it's in the bottom end of the concealed pistols. Basically, none of the mods help for concealment, so if you plan on putting any mods, you're only losing concealment from there. As for the performance, it's a bit of an oddball. This pistol sits at the 100 to 110 damage range, which is close to, but still lower than the somewhat newly added Crosskill Chunky. Why'd they name it that? Both of these pistols sit in between the higher 130 damage ones, like the Desert Eagle, and the mid-tier ones, like the regular Crosskill, the Interceptor, the Leo, the Contractor. Those all sit at the 80 to 90 range. So functionally, it feels pretty similar to the Crosskill Chunky. It's got higher accuracy and stability, nothing to worry about there. Concealment, a little on the low side. As for the damage, I just don't think the damage is anything worth celebrating over. I don't believe it's hitting any new breakpoints, but I might be wrong. That's not to say that it's a bad weapon, you know, it hits pretty hard, and the pickup didn't feel too bad. There's no real inherent weaknesses with the gun, so, like the SMG, it performs rather well. The akimbo versions are also really nice to have. If you run a pistol-focused setup, having them really helps with your efficiency. Also, for some reason, I seem to click a lot better with these akimbos more so than others. I don't know, that's just me, but they felt really nice to use. In any case, it's a solid weapon. It probably won't be a replacement for any of my loud pistol setups, but for my stealth one, I could see myself swapping to this on occasion. You know, I love the Judge to bits, but sometimes I'll slightly miss and hit a window in the back or something stupid like that. And the pistol has the added benefit of having a bit more of a reliable range without the risk of collateral damage. That being said though, the Judge is also super nice in a pinch, because when you get spotted, it has such a high fire rate and crazy high damage. That means that you can actually kill those tanky guards on death's ends, and it makes it a lot easier to deal with those situations. I don't think the pistol will be able to do that. Alright, well that's everything. So, what's the verdict on these guns? Are they good? Is the DLC worth a buy? My honest opinion, I think this DLC is purely for the novelty. Like, do you like the fun exclusive sets, like triple lasers or the futuristic SMG? Do you like the gimmick of the pistol? Maybe you actually like the guns themselves? If so, yeah, you know, it's probably worth it. But otherwise, I don't really see a reason to pick up this DLC. At least, if all you care about is performance. I mean, are the guns fun? I mean, functionally, they aren't adding much to the game. I mean, I'm not saying I dislike, you know, fun triple lasers or pistol with shotgun push mechanics. In fact, I'd love to see more weapons with actual variety and uniqueness. But these ones in particular just didn't add that much for me. I mean, the previous DLC, for example, the pistol with the underbarrel shotgun attachment, that was a great addition. Permanently silenced pistol with push mechanics? It's kinda neat, but would have been a lot neater to have if the game were still newer and fresh, that's for sure. Now though, it's alright. I think the real problem is that there are a lot of things in this DLC that just don't make the cut. A lot of the animations look off, the models, they aren't so well done, And we already have a really bloated amount of weapon DLC as it is. You know, I ain't being paid enough to buy these things all the time. Who do I gotta to get like? Well, there's my take on the guns. I hope you guys found it useful. And I hope you have a fantastical, wonderful, bubbly, happy rest of your fucking life. Thanks for watching.